Alright, welcome back. So here is part 3 of our Atari Lynx II build. In part 1, if you remember, we had a bin full of Atari Lynx II parts where we found a working motherboard and replaced the power circuitry in there to get that up and running. Part 2, we just recapped the entire motherboard because capacitors get old, especially in a machine from the 90s, and we're just future-proofing it. In this part, we are going to put it all back together and get a working Lynx. Alright, so here I grabbed the front housing from my parts bin. It's already got the buttons in it and everything like that, so it should be good to go. And again, sorry if the audio seems a little off. I'm doing a voiceover because the original audio wasn't that great. So now we're going to grab the piece that holds the membrane and the speaker, and it's just basically kind of the inner housing, and we're going to put that in place and screw it all together. And of course, if you haven't seen parts 1 or 2, please be sure to see those. The links should be in the description, and your support is much appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so we have it all together now, and I'm just testing the buttons, make sure that everything feels good, nothing's too tight or doesn't push down great, but everything feels great, and the case is in decent condition considering the age of these machines, so that's good. Alright, so now we're going to put in a screen, but if you remember from the previous videos, this screen is only good for testing. It's beat up, there's missing pixels, it doesn't look great. I think one side's lighter than the other. So we are going to upgrade it with a new screen, a new, more modern screen. And this is from BennVenn. I'll put his information in the description below. Now, I believe since the recording of this video, he's actually come out with a new IPS screen, and these ones may no longer be available. So, future video idea, yay! Also, you can get a 3D printed aligning bracket from Atari Gamer. It's very useful and pretty much a necessity if you're going to put this screen in. So all we're going to do now is just align the screen within the bracket. It really only fits one way and lines up with the screw holes in the case, so it's not too difficult. But yeah, just put the screen in, put the bracket over, and then you kind of feel everything shift into place. And then once you have it in place, you'll see the screw holes line up with the original screw holes from the case, and you just screw it all together. Now with the screen in the housing, we have to take the motherboard and just remove one component, this blue inductor, which is L17. And all you have to do is remove that, which will kill the high power circuit that used to run the old screen. And it's very simple. We just need to find the two pins on the other end of the board and just desolder them. I am going to use my desoldering gun. If you have one, it's great. They're awesome tools. Otherwise, you can get this done using just, wick and even just holding your soldering iron to each pin and pulling on the other end. With that out of the way, now we can focus our attention on this section right here, which is on the other side of the board, and we're just going to solder a wire to the 4th pin from the left up top there. You can see where I'm adding fresh solder. This is optional, but it is useful because it adds the ability to change brightness and add scan lines to your screen, so that's pretty neat. But all we do is take a wire and solder it to that point. Again, it's the 4th from the top left. Okay, now that we have that wire soldered in place, we have to connect that to the back of this LCD driver board here, and it's just going to go on that pad that says backlight. So we're just going to add a little bit of fresh solder to that pad, and then solder the wire in place. Now with all that together and ready to go, we can start assembling this. So this kit is the solderless kit, so these pads on the LCD board that were that can accept solder. Typically, you would have to solder those to connections on the motherboard, but in this case, there is a ribbon cable that will do that for you, which is very useful if you're not comfortable soldering. Personally, I think I would choose to do the soldering because it allows a little bit more flexibility and more room for these connections, because this ribbon cable, as you can see, is short and it's really hard to get everything connected properly. And you'll see me struggle with this. So we are just trying to plug the ribbon cable into the corresponding connector on the back of this LCD driver board, and it's definitely a pain in the butt. I have fat fingers, which doesn't make it any easier, and sorry I couldn't get a good view of this. It's just tough to get the camera in the right angle, especially when it's just a stationary top-down camera. But yeah.
Thousands of tears later.
Okay, now that we have everything plugged in, it's time to put this all together and get ready to test it. So I'm just going to put the battery cover back in and screw the back case and add the rubber handle pad thingy cushions. Yeah, cushions, that's what they are, probably. The rubber cushions to the back, and we'll get ready to test it. Okay, so now it's all back together and it's going to be time to test. Instead of using the Ninja Gaiden cart from the previous videos, I'm going to use another product from BennVenn, which is essentially just a Lynx cart that you can add an SD card and add ROMs to it so that you can play your backed up games and you don't have to risk damaging the games that, the original games. Alright, so we're going to put the game in, and here is the moment of truth. Plug it in, and let's see.
Let's play California games. And then, since we added that extra wire, it gives us the ability to use this backlight button to change the backlight brightness. Press it, it'll cycle through different brightnesses. And eventually turn it off. And also, if you hold it down, it'll give the option for scan lines. Not sure how well that shows up on camera. And then you just hold it again to take it off. Oh. This is great. Oh. Alright, but yeah, so there we go. And there you have it. We took a parts bin full of Atari Lynx II stuff and turned it into a fully working Atari Lynx II with an upgraded LCD screen from BennVenn, and I think it looks great, and this is pretty exciting. We, future-proofed it too by replacing the power circuit and capacitors, so this thing should last for a very long time. Thanks for checking out this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, let us know. Thank you.